You're it!
Last man standings, you either love them or you hate them, but you can't deny they're a staple of many a ASIM. And with the upcoming release of the killer Azour, who is guaranteed to have an LMS with 2-time, now's the perfect time to talk about them. When the clock shifts and you realize you're all alone, and the only thing standing in the way of the killer's victory is you. There are no teammates to save you now, you failed to protect them, and now you're truly by yourself. All that's left to do is struggle to survive. Whether it be by running, fighting, even begging, it doesn't matter how you do it. Even if it is abusing that one OP looping spot for the entire LMS. All that really matters is surviving that 1 minute and 15. But, in case you couldn't tell by the title or the intro, this isn't the full story. There's more to Last Man Standing than that. No. The real reason Last Man Standing is so special is the interactions between killer and survivor, between executioner and victim. Whether it be the treacherous brawl of the swordsman or the hopeless pleads to a man long gone, these are what truly make Last Man Standing so memorable and the reason you got targeted for 3 minutes. And in today's video, I'm here to talk all about Last Man Standings and their impact on the game.
A soul so grave that it's time to run.
A grave soul now run, the default Last Man Standing. It's pretty self-explanatory. It's the default Last Man Standing and the one you'll hear the most often. It's the bread and butter of Last Man Standings. Moving the clock to 1 minute 15, highlighting the survivor and killer to each other, it acts as a last-ditch effort for them to win, along with preventing 3-minute solo chases. The mechanic first originates from Dead by Daylight, but in Dead by Daylight it acts quite different. If you already know how Dead by Daylight works, then you can skip this part, but essentially, the killer needs to hook survivors to kill them, instead of just doing it themselves. I don't know why. And the survivors need to do generators to survive. Unlike Forsaken, there is no timer for the survivors to win, therefore, generators must be completed to win. Happy now, guess? So the goal is either for the killer to kill all the survivors by hooking them, or for the survivors to complete all the generators and escape. But if only one survivor remains, obviously it's kinda difficult to do generators and survive at the same time. Therefore, the last survivor mechanic comes in. This forces a hatch, the thing that lets survivors escape, to be opened, allowing for the survivors to escape without completing generators. But in return, the killers can kill the survivor with their own hands. Finally. But most importantly, the killer will be granted a win whether or not the survivor escapes. I mean, they already killed all the others, so technically without this mechanic the killer would have just won, so makes sense, I guess. Forsaken, on the other hand, does things quite different. It's more similar to a fair 1v1 between survivor and killer. And while I'm not gonna argue my stance on why that's bad today, I'm saving that for another video. A change which Forsaken includes, which I do like and is now a staple of Roblox ASIMs, is the custom music based on the survivors and killers present in the game. There are a multitude of Last Man Standing songs in Forsaken, from the controversial Smile for Cupcake School Kid to the iconic Close to Me. These help to add variety to the game and gives you a break from hearing the same song for the 1000th time. These variations on the base LMS normally trigger based on the skins present, and don't change the clock in any way. So from a purely gameplay perspective, they don't change anything. But there are some notable exceptions, and those exceptions are what I'm here to talk about today. Those exceptions are
Hashtag special Gametheory lore Last Man Standings.
a key part of Last Man Standings and a staple of the Roblox ASIM. Unlike in Dead by Daylight, Last Man Standing isn't simply just a mechanic to keep the game fair. It's also a medium in which the story of the game can be told. Forsaken, of course, uses this to its fullest potential in the many interactions shown. I mean, we have Jane Doe full on explaining her lore with John Doe. And I'm here to analyze how the Last Man Standing show the story. That's right, I'm going back to my roots with this one. It's time for some theorizing. Music theorizing. So, the main songs that are connected to the lore are Plead, Creation of Hatred, Dreadringer, and You and I. Each of them tell a different tale about the characters involved, both speaking of times before being forsaken. Let's start with the most iconic example, Plead, and the best one. Absolutely no bias, 100% factual information.
Plead do da 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 do da dod.
Plead starts off with the soft sound of the xylophone, violin, and drums, before quickly progressing into the beat drop, where what I believe is an electric guitar and drums take center stage. The use of the xylophone obviously to show Cool Kid's young age, and N7 is Cool Kid's dad, so they obviously have that connection. The song has quite a somber tone as the confrontation of father and son. The father tried to escape the son's deadly games. Once the beat drop happens, it's as if reality hits N7. He's forced to run and hide, using his cool GUI to escape his own child. The song also clashes with itself as the harshness of the guitar contrasts with the playfulness of the xylophone. The connections between the lore is kinda obvious. Once the song reaches the halfway mark, it begins to sound more hopeful. Suddenly, the electric guitar makes way for the drums to take focus. This same technique is used in various last man standings to show the survivor persists. The electric guitar is also notably lacking from the latter half of the song, almost as if N7 is looking towards the future rather than dwelling in the past. Meanwhile, on the other side of things, the lack of the could also signify that Cool Kid is losing. You could look at it as Cool Kid's instruments being the electric guitar as shown in the song Ready or Not, and the electric guitar returning red at the end of the song, showing Cool Kid's last ditch effort to win. Now, on to the next last man standing.
Creation of, is that a gubby?
Unlike Plead, Creation of Hatred is a lot more aggressive, having a notable techno vibe to it. I feel like the techno vibe is meant to symbolize the 2010s, as Sheletsky was most known back then and 1X was also created back then. The song feels like a full-on brawl between the Swords Masters. As shown in the official music video, the entire LMS is a fight for control, as the power constantly shifts. This feature was also in Plead, but the notable clock ticking sound is a staple of Forsaken Last Man Standings, and adds to the suspense and intensity. I think this song is meant to symbolize that Sheletsky is finally confronting his hatred. As shown countless times in the Forsaken lore, unlike at 7, Sheletsky chooses to keep 1X a secret from the others. Yet despite his best efforts pretending not to know him, Sheletsky gets noticeably quiet when the name is brought up. This LMS shows that now alone with his demons he chooses to fight. The song is less focused on the emotional element as frankly it's just two dudes who absolutely hate each other, but instead more focused on the actual fight. The struggle to survive, the chance to let all that built up anger out. As the clock ticks, one question is asked, which swordsman shall be claimed as the victor? The song uses mostly the same instruments the entire time, which I believe is meant to show that this isn't a battle between two different people. No, this is a battle for control. A battle to see who truly gets the title of Sheletsky. Or should I say Telamon? Considering they both split, they are basically just two sides of the same coin. Anyway, that's all I have for Creation of Hatred. On to the next one.
Battle of the Zesty Besties.
Okay, so you know how I mentioned the clock in Creation of Hatred? Well, here it's front and center as the clock slowly ticks down. The battle of two former best friends. This song uses an extreme rock style as, you're being chased by a beast named Guest 666 and looks like this. I think rock suits them. The main instruments used in the song are the electric guitar, drums, piano, and chimes. I believe the guitars and drums signify Sixer's burning rage towards Noob. In Sixer's eyes, Noob abandoned them at their lowest and left them to become this demon. And whatever is left of their mind remembers not the good times they shared, but the betrayal, the reason they are like this. While the soft piano and chimes signify Noob's pleas with Sixer to understand and stop this torment, only to fall on deaf ears. On top of that, the song also uses call and response, especially shown in the music video by the color of the audio visualizer. Red is for Sixer and yellow is for Noob. And throughout the song they constantly switch from a harsh angry tone of Sixer to the calms of Noob. It's almost like an argument as Sixer screams at Noob for all their wrongdoings, while Noob tries to reason with Sixer. And notice how the first Noob section begins roughly at the halfway point of the song. Once again, it shows the power shift from the killer to the survivor as they get closer to winning. After the first Noob section, it's as if Sixer is lashing out at Noob. The aggressive rock tone of the song returns, and yet, despite that, the second Noob section feels a lot more hopeful. It's as if Noob understands that Sixer is angry and yet chooses to move on rather than arguing in vain. Noob chooses to look forward rather than dwelling in the past, not letting themselves get dragged down with Sixer. And while I'm not too sure how good of evidence this is, the first Noob part literally uses the original placeholder motif, which can literally be interpreted as Noob trying to reason with Sixer being brought down to their level, which only leaves them burnt by Sixer's harsh rebuttal, leading to the second Noob section being more focused on the future with an entire new motif. The song starts to feel more hopeful as Sixer desperately tries not to let Noob go, the visualizer slowly getting more and more red before only the sound of the clock remains. Anyway, that's all I have for the Lovebirds. On to the next LMS, and by far the most different one.
For Eva Mori, it's just you and I.
Well, compared to the others, this one's quite straightforward to analyze. I mean, it's literally spelt out to you by the newly added lyrics. The song speaks of how Jane Doe lost John Doe to the corruption, how Jane Doe obsessed over searching for him, slowly letting him take over her entire life. Unlike the previous Last Man Standings, there are no notable electric guitars present in You and I. The song is much slower, taking a more triumphant fight with a somber undertone. The notable instruments being the violin, drums, guitar, and a bell sound. The bell sound present in the song sounds quite similar to the type of thing you'd hear in a wedding. Obviously, John and Jane are married, so this is a pretty obvious callback to that, as they'll be reunited once more. Okay, fine. The choice to make John Doe sing is, well, honestly, quite a good one. While yes, I do understand it's a bit weird at first, considering all we know John Doe for saying is, well, but it not only allows for great harmonization with Jane Doe's singer, but also shows one of the key parts of The Last Man Standing, which, as shown in the title, is It's Just Them Alone. I believe John singing is his consciousness, or whatever is left of it, reaching out to Jane. And as the song progresses, the corruption slowly takes him from Jane. John Doe's singing is notably missing once the You Poor Thing motif begins. I believe this is meant to show how the corruption took him away from her. Jane is forced to sing alone to the void, as now it's just her. The main message said throughout the song, Forevermore, it's just you and I, proof and false in what I can only describe as dramatic irony. And now she's alone, all by herself. Hi, it's editing me here. Okay, so turns out at the time it took me to edit this video, the devs decided to release the 2-time and Azour Last Man Standing. So now I don't have an excuse not to cover it. Luckily for me, some of my very reliable sources, rest in peace Collab dude, suddenly got shot down by the Forsaken Ninjas, allowed me to hear it early, so I already got some notes on it, so guess I could talk about it. And hey, since the lore isn't fully finished and Azour isn't out yet as of making this video, we can use the skills used throughout this video to put together the lore and the music. So the song starts off with a classic clock featured in practically every Last Man Standing, and the piano. The song almost has a mystical vibe to it, which I can interpret as them showing how Spawn is like some divine, godlike being to them. The song's beat drop then introduces the drums, with the piano remaining center stage. Now, from the slight part of the chase theme we got for Azour, it seems the violin is clearly Azour's instrument, as they both use the same motif. In The Last Man Standing, the violin symbolizes how Azour doesn't seem angry. I mean, they seem to be having the time of their life. No, they seem more thrilled by the chance to encounter 2-time again. From what I understand from the part of the video featuring their lore, it seems Azour and 2-time both lived in a Spawnish village with Elder Hamara. They met each other in the bushes and became good friends. It seemed they both wanted to escape the village and go see the wider world, as shown in the picture. But clearly something went wrong, as 2-time and Azour look quite angry at each other in the next image. Before, well, Azour got Britished. From my analysis, it seems Azour wanted to stick to the plan to escape, while 2-time held faith in the Spawn. Therefore, since Azour's act was one of treason to Spawn, 2-time backstabbed him to show his loyalty to Spawn. Which, of course, didn't quite work out. Also, if you look at the background of the music video, you can see what appears to be the new map coming out, which I believe is the forest where they met, or where 2-time backstabbed Azour. Overall, pretty good Last Man Standing, a solid 8 out of 10, I quite like it. It shows the religious dispute between them quite well. Also a choice tomorrow, let's go, finally! Anyway, back to Past Me.
The END. Like from hit game Minecraft for PlayStation's Nintendo Niche Z-Bot.
Anyway, those are all the Last Man Standings in the game as of making this video. Hope you enjoyed my funny analysis. And hey, if you liked the analysis, then why don't you like another thing, being this video? And also subscribe while you're at it. You know, it really does help, I think. It helps, right? And if you disagree with anything in this video, feel free to comment it. Or heck, maybe I even got some stuff wrong. I'm no music expert. Anyway, I'm off to play the Azour update. Surely it's gonna be releasing by the time I edit this, right? By editing me, please show a thumbs up on the screen, please, I beg. Anyway, see you next time.
Everybody's screaming at me to get the banana. I don't know how to get the banana. I'm about to shovel banana.